And Ms. Baldwin, I think this is your case.
Yes, thank you. We sent this matter over. I'm not sure if Ms. Day was planning to appear or the state. This did appear yesterday before the dependency court. The court did accept it and did order shelter care for the children. So based on that, I think the court at this point is it is reasonable for the court to go ahead and dismiss the third-party custody and relieve my clients of the obligation of that, as the court is orally ordered. We're circulating the paper order.
Okay, are you going to do the dismissal order then?
Oh yes, there was one previously. If you don't have it in your file anymore, I will send you a new one.
Why don't you send another one over, and then I'll sign that. So have the parents been served in this case?
I was.
Okay, Ms. Rapp is here. Okay, great. And
Your Honor, both parents have been served.
okay, great. And then Mr. Anagnost, are you representing Ms. Rapp?
Yes, Your Honor. And I was unaware of that until, actually yesterday when we were checking the docket. And the docket doesn't reflect that I'm representing.
I noted that when I was reviewing it. Right. So I've just signed the order appointing for you. So thank you for being here today. And I've taken care of that.
I know my client is very interested in these proceedings, and she's called our office and really responsive to the court.
All right. Ms. Rapp, you think you can meet with your attorney in the next couple weeks?
Yes.
Okay, good. Ms. Farr.
Your Honor, the number I had for Ms. Rapp was no good, and I just got her current phone number from her this morning.
Okay.
A few minutes ago, so I need to set up a time to interview her.
How far out do you think you're away from a report in this matter?
If I can interview her this week, I can get my report in by the end of the week.
All right. Mr. Doble and Ms. Woodruff, does it work for you to be back here on May 23rd? All right. And then one of the things I will do again is extend the immediate emergency minor guardianship so that there is a guardian in place until we make a determination. Thank you for everybody's input. We'll see you back here on May 23rd. Ms. Fard, anything else?
That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Guardianship of Paisley Chappelle and Braden Chappelle. I saw Shauna Ray here and Mr. Anagnost here. Did you see Mallory Smith's note? At least she sent me one requesting that this matter be put over to June 6th. She needs a little bit more time, and then the proposed guardian, Ms. Overby, wasn't available the week before. So she wanted to put this over to June 6th. And then we're going to put the parenting plan that's in the family law court over to June 7th. Anybody have any objection to that?
I guess we don't have an objection as long as the court will consider residential time for my client between now and then at today's hearing.
I know that Shauna Ray has visits set up through the supervised visiting center that we had been working with.
There's some issues we need to bring up, Your Honor.
Okay, let's go ahead and address those.
All right. This weekend is Mother's Day's weekend. My client would like to see her children on Mother's Day. Her next scheduled visit is not until the 20th. And it's supervised visitation through Beth Fellow's Reconnecting Families. So we'd like a visit to occur on Mother's Day. We understand the next supervised visit is not until the 20th. She's supposed to be getting phone calls, but the phone calls are very problematic. They're at 7 o'clock at night. I believe it might be at 6, but it's
7
hour. And then my client is cut off. We would like those earlier in the day and at least twice a week so she can maintain better contact with her children and a relationship with her children. She's doing everything in her power to reestablish a relationship. So between now and the next hearing, we'd like 2 times a week at either 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon for an hour. The current phone contact is 1 time a week, and it interferes with apparently with their dinner time. So we'd like it earlier so it doesn't interfere, and twice a week.
All right, thank you. Ms. Overby, any response?
Yes, Your Honor. In regards to the phone call, those are very stressful for the children. They don't know what to talk about. Braden is often upset after the call. It is scheduled from 6 to 7 o'clock on Tuesdays. She is only utilizing she calls it 7 usually, but not even every week does she call. Sometimes they sit and wait for this call and it never comes. It often leaves them upset. They often argue. There's always conversations about stuff that they're going to receive from their mother, but then it never shows up. Like they swapped addresses so that they could mail things back and forth. She's never mailed anything to them. They check every package that shows up. So I am not inclined to increase the amount of phone calls in a week myself. He did just get visits set up to every other week with the reconnecting families. She had her first visit last week. I heard it went okay. Braden was very anxious afterwards and had kind of a hard evening, but did very well and recovered well. But I'd like to see how those really go. Shauna is not using the parenting app that the Guardian advice recommended that we utilize. You're talking over me. She has not actually logged onto it since March 24th.
Right.
And so she is not receiving any of our messages that
It wasn't before
or
then.
any communication, like the extra phone call that I offered for Braden's birthday, the extra phone call I offered for Easter, the extra phone call I offered for Mother's Day, because she's not utilizing the court-ordered communication and calling from a different number every week.
Okay, Joe.
Mr. Agnoso, I'll let you respond if you want.
Without speaking with my client, I wouldn't have a response to the parenting app. I think she was saying something to that effect this morning to me about the parenting app. But the real point is, my client needs this process to move along. The father's out of the picture. She's going to do everything in her power to have a safe home for the children. And we need to get this process moving. We understand that the court's ordered the supervised residential time to reconnect my client with the children. She's doing that. And then we have these requests for, this weekend, Mother's Day weekend, and going forward until the next hearing. And I think there's relatively simple requests, and the children need to get used to their mother being in their lives, because that's what's going to be the outcome of this, we believe.
Your Honor.
Briefly, Ms. Ray, go ahead.
I would like to state that I've been having problems shortly after we connected to the app that Mallory had set us up with. And Mallory has been, I've told Mallory that I'm having problems with that app. I cannot see most of the things that Miss Overby is asking of me or texting whomever she's texting on that app, where the text should be, as far as communication goes, it's just blocked out. It's gray. I can't read through it at all. I've asked Mallory why it's going on. I've asked Joe why it's going on. They're both saying that they don't see that on their end. I've screenshotted it. I've sent it to Mallory. Mallory is well aware that I know of why I'm not on that app no more. I've never been able to communicate really at all with that app.
What app was that?
It's PPI.
It's app close, Your Honor.
App close.
And
why it's blocking out, I'm not. I don't know. I have wrote the company itself, never heard back from them. And I'm assuming, I believe Mallory had also wrote them, but I don't know the outcome of it. I never went back on that app.
Jason, Mallory, and myself are communicating effectively with that app on a very regular basis.
You probably are. I'm not going to make some stuff up. I sent the picture to Mallory. Mallory has it. I cannot see more than half of what you guys communicate about. I'm blocked out of it.
All right, let me address the app in just a minute. Ms. Smith recommended supervised visits with reconnecting families. That's been set up. Apparently, there's only been one visit.
Yes, it has.
I don't think that's sufficient for me to allow unsupervised visits at this point. I need a more of a track record, and I need to see the notes from reconnecting families. I do think it's appropriate to have a phone call on Mother's Day. Ms. Overby, what time would that work for you?
We have a musical at 2:00 on Mother's Day, so morning time or later in the evening, whichever she would prefer.
Ms. Ray, would a 10 o'clock telephone call work for you?
Sure, yeah.
So can I impose a question, Your Honor?
Sure.
Why can't my client go to the musical? Plenty of people around. It won't be unsupervised, you know, it's not necessarily supervised either, but there's people around and she could see the children at the musical and it's on Mother's Day and tell them Mother's Day and then leave. It's an open public event, I assume.
Ms. Overby, what's your thoughts on that?
My thought is that I do not want to be responsible for Miss Ray's interactions with the children. I don't feel comfortable with that. Me and Shauna do not always get along. And I think that would be stressful on both of us and the children, to be honest.
Your Honor, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why do I have supervised visits?
Because it's recommended by the guardian ad litem at this point. And again, I've got that recommendation. I'm following it. I don't believe there's been, again, enough of a track.
No, I understand that, but the actual me having to have supervised visits is based upon what? Why? What did I do to have supervised visits? I've never been told that except for I dated Mr. Wymore in the past. That was it. I've complied with
Unfortunately,
everything
Ms.
else.
Smith is not here right now, but I'm going to follow her recommendation. So I'm going to order a 10 a.m. telephone call on Mother's Day initiated by Ms. Ray to the children. That should last for some period of time. And otherwise, I'm not going to allow Ms. Ray to go to the musical. The next supervised visit is the 20th. And the next date we're going to be together here will be June 6th at 10:30. And I will be entertaining more visitation and look at the type of visitation with Ms. Ray on that date. Okay.
One further question, is there going to be another immediate order entered in? There was a lapse in paperwork and I was struggling with a couple of things with the kids, like the WISE team in particular needed me to sign some ROIs, but I could not get a hold of that paperwork.
Yes, I will extend the immediate.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And the phone contact, is the court going to entertain my request that it be expanded to twice a week and change the times?
I'm going to deny that request at this point. We'll look at that on June 6th. It'll still be once a week, I guess, from 6 to 7 is what's been ordered.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, good. Thank you, Mr. Waldo.
Your Honor, I do have Damien present for this one too, if you have questions for him.
Okay.
Is it showing my face or no?
Not right now. I see it's the letter C. Let me
There it is.
get to the file. Ms. Farr, where are you at in your investigation of this case?
So, Your Honor, I've interviewed all the parties. I do have a question for the court. I'd like to interview Damien's girlfriend, who is a minor, and I wanted to see if that would be appropriate or if I needed approval for that.
Well, does the girlfriend have parents that are around?
Mr.
Yeah,
Sisudu.
that's me.
It's your, okay. I was thinking, it's okay with me so long as it's okay with her parents, so.
Okay.
Mr.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
All right.
Okay, I'll reach out to do that. So I would like to do that before completing my report. My understanding is that Mr. Waldo is asking now for an attorney, and Damien has requested that he be appointed an attorney if Mr. Waldo is contesting the matter.
Okay. Mr. Waldo, you're requesting a lawyer in this case?
Yes, I am.
Can you give me an idea what your income is?
Well, right now I'm just, it's not looking too good right now because I've been in and out of jobs. So,
Well, you're entitled to a lawyer if you have a lower income. So
well, I do.
That's what I'm
Currently, I do
trying to
right now.
confirm. Okay. So you're in between jobs right now?
Yeah, so it's like I'll work for like a week and then I'm off and then looking for other work. So yeah, I'm in between jobs, working construction work. So
Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to locate an attorney for you. And for Damien, I'm gonna try Ms. Winkles. I don't know when she'll respond to me about that. I think maybe what we should do is put this over 2 weeks for the primary purpose of just confirming the attorney appointments and making sure everybody's connected with their lawyer. And then we'll have to figure out a time from there when we can do a hearing. I'll continue the immediate emergency guardianship. Well, there really isn't one here. It looks like you just filed for a full guardianship. Oh, I did do an immediate. Okay. All right, I'll extend the immediate guardianship to May 23rd, and then we'll hopefully pick a date to have a hearing on this petition on that date. Mr. Waldo, you look like you have a question.
yeah.
Make sure you ask it.
So it's temporary, right? It's not in place, right? This is just a temporary because I'm not signing any paperwork saying that there's full guardianship here.
I understand that. There's no order on a full guardianship. These are week to week or every 2 week orders that I'm entering.
Okay, then.
Okay, there will be a hearing, and we'll have to figure out how long it will take before the full guardianship is either entered or denied. And I think if you want a lawyer, I'll get a lawyer appointed. I'll also do it for your son, and then we'll have to figure out how long they need to prepare.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anything else? Otherwise, I'll put this over to May 23rd. All right, thank you, Mr.
All right,
Anacostia.
Before you go on, Your Honor, back to the guardianship of Paisley and Braden, and I see Miss Overby is still here. You had mentioned the custody case between Miss Ray and Mr. Chappell, which is a separate cause number, and you're going to be considering that at the next hearing?
That's going to be on June 7th.
So the day after.
Right, and I think it's coming up actually before that. I can't really change that from this docket.
Right.
Whenever it comes up on my family law docket, I'll put it over to June 7th.
Okay. And the question I had, am I appointed in that as well from Miss Ray?
So I don't know that I have the ability to appoint you an attorney in that case. In the minor guardianship matter, there's a specific ability to appoint an attorney on behalf of a parent. But in a family law case, I don't think that's the case.
Right. That usually falls under, I mean, I've been appointed in family law cases when under the Disability Act.
Right. That would be under a GR 33. If you think your client qualifies under a GR 33 appointment, you can apply for it.
I'll look into that because I think the two cases are so intertwined that
yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, it needs to consider them simultaneously. But okay.
Mr. Anagnostou, I think that's in Mr. DePriest. One of my questions is whether the father was served in this case.
I do not believe he has been served, Your Honor. I know that the mother has been. I know that there were some attempts made to serve the father and he was not able to be located.
Okay. Do we have any idea where the father's at?
I do not. The last we knew of his whereabouts, he was in a homeless encampment, I believe.
I'm not sure I can go forward unless we get service on the father.
Okay.
Your Honor, I attempted to locate Joel's address and serve him, and the only addresses I could come up with, the process server reported back that it was a homeless encampment. I found one other address that might be a relative, but didn't pursue that as I don't think he lives in that area. The last I had heard, the father was in prison on charges of possession of stolen property and assault and stuff like that that was up in Jefferson County. So
Has he been released since then? Do you know?
I have no clue. I know that the mother no longer has a relationship with the father and hasn't since Odin was an infant.
Well, I've got a report from Ms. Day that I think recommends that Mr. DePriest be appointed. And the mother was served. She didn't respond to requests from Ms. Day to speak to her. But the father is not served and the statute requires that. So somehow we need to work through that problem if we're going to go forward. Mr. Anagnosti, have you had contact with Ms. Howard?
I have not. Attempted to reach out to her, but I haven't connected yet.
Okay. On this case, I've been talking to the attorneys and Mr. DePriest. Looks like the father has not been served and he's difficult to locate. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
I have tried in multiple areas. I had checked for different incarceration locations, both in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. I've not been able to locate him.
All right. The purpose of the hearing here is to appoint an emergency minor guardian that would last for 60 days. We've been putting over the immediate for a while now. Is your client, you haven't had touch with your client, Mr. Anagnosti, have you?
Correct. All we have is a phone number. There's a general delivery address,
Right.
But no response. So, and we've called the phone number and left messages.
Okay. Well, I'm inclined to enter the emergency order given the non-contact with the parents, which will create a 60-day window. This isn't going to be permanent, but we're almost doing the same thing if I keep bumping the immediate order over for weeks at a time. I guess I'm willing to hear from everyone. Ms. Holder, any objection to that?
I don't have an objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Anagnosti?
I don't have an objection. Without any contact.
Yeah.
It's probably the correct thing to do, I believe.
Okay. Ms. Day, any concerns about that?
No, I think that's appropriate and is what is needed in order to protect this child and provide for their needs in the interim.
Okay. At some point, if there's going to be a full guardianship, we are going to have to get service on the father. But right now, I think entering the emergency makes sense. Do we have an order over there? It's in Odin channel. All right, we do not have an order here. Ms. Holder, is that something you could put together for us?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And then let me set a review date, which is just before the 60 days. Let me do a little calculation. So this will expire on July 8th. So we're going to have the review date on June 27th. An emergency minor guardianship order can be extended for another 60 days if that's necessary. So that's what we will determine on June 27th. Okay. Let me ask you, there's someone in the waiting room with the name John Rogers. Does that ring a bell with anybody? Okay.
No,
All right. Okay, when the order is here, I will sign it and we'll see everybody back on June 27th. Mr. Rogers, or who did I just let in? Says John Rogers.